Hello, the internet. I just got from watching DreamWorks' latest film this year, The Wild Robot. 2024 has been an interesting year for the studio. We got the Netflix exclusive Orion in the Dark, which was pretty good, the fourth Kung Fu Panda film that was okay, but not at least of the first three. And yeah, there was that crappy Megamind sequel, but A, I have not seen it, and B, that was done by their television production division and not their big leagues, so it doesn't count. And finishing up this year, their most anticipated film of the year, their magnum opus for this year, and one of their best films ever, and the grand return of How to Train Your Dragon director Chris Sanders, The Wild Robot. When a cargo carrying 6 robots called ROSUM units, ROS, crashes, one of the robots survives and finds herself on an island inhabited by animals. The animals assume that she's a monster and thus are cold towards her. Roz would later then raise a young gosling called Bright Bill, along with a snarky fox called Fink. People usually forget that DreamWorks can pump out some real gems, and this film is no exception. What I like about this film is how it barely feels like a DreamWorks film, as it feels more like something out of either a Pixar film or even an indie film. Just as the film opens, you can tell that this is not your typical DreamWorks flick, with a lack of music and dialogue, save for Roz. At the opening, you can tell that this is something special. While it does have a very simple story, it's the execution that really makes this movie. Roz's journey is quite fascinating. You got this simple-minded robot in this quite hostile world with dangerous creatures. We've seen robots like Roz before in movies like Baymax and Wall-E, but placing her in a force is quite a unique take on this trope. Speaking of Roz, she's such a fascinating character as her main goal is to serve. Seeing her trying to find her purpose in this land is both interesting but also tragic, as despite wanting to help, the animals see her nothing more than a monster, which is quite sad, and her bond between Bright Bill, the adopted sunbird, is very emotional, especially during that one scene in the film. The other characters are quite memorable as well. Sure, they may start off as hostile, but I think it helps to capture how nature can be in real life. Plus, not all the animals are like that, as some can be quite likable, like the snarky but lovable fox Fink, the wise Longneck, voiced by the great Bill Nighy, and especially Bright Bill, Roz's adopted son. Plus, the animals later do become allies to Roz later on in the film, and it is so satisfying seeing them work together to defeat a bigger threat. And I love how they portray nature in this film, as it can be both dangerous but beautiful at the same time. Speaking of which, gosh, does the film look beautiful! The film uses the same painting-like look like in Puss in Boots: Last Wish, and the film almost looks like something out of an illustration, with its lovely color palette and amazing shots in the film. I also love the animation on Roz, from how she functions as a robot to more subtle elements like her colors will change. It's nice to it's nice to see that anime films are adopting more stylistic looks as opposed to looking realistic. And it's quite sad that this will be DreamWorks' last film to be made in-house. And boy, can this film be real emotional at times. There are so many scenes that are quite either tear-jerking, heartwarming, and even shocking at times. I tear up a bit this film at times. To conclude, yeah, this is another one of DreamWorks' best. A film that's emotional, beautiful to look at, and has a lot of memorable characters. This easily gets a 10 out of 10. Truly the best anime film of 2024. Go ahead and see it for yourself. Bye! Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.